So the distance between the strings here, if we have this very narrow, it will affect, in fact, our performance in Rasgueo. Also, with Alsapua happens the same thing, but let me do one thing for you which will help to identify this thing here. This height here, the measurements from the string to the top, close to the rosette, we will do this with quarters. 1 quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters, and 4 quarters. So here we have this 4, which will fit precisely here. You should see it's how it works. So of course not in all models, but this model has also a very low distance here, which is advisable to have. And this is one idea, right? This with the quarters, 4 quarters fit here to measure that. Now, then of course, if this is very high, what will happen is that the thumb, when I am playing the thing, practically speaking, if we play with the thumb this way, then we will pick more of the treble because of the posture of the hand. Like in this case. Right? So when we need to play the treble, this is okay, but when we need to play the basses, this is not okay. We need to bend here to posture 2, which is like this. Then posture 2, 3, we will call like this, not pressing against, but resting the knuckle on the top. But this one here, number 2, gives balance to play on the bass side. Have that. If this is very high, what happens is that the finger goes inside, and then that's of course it will affect the rasgueo. This is one thing here. That's why let me do it with euro, so that these currencies have some use at least for this thing. So here with euro coins, this we put this close to the rosette. 1, 2, and 3. So it will fit 3. Exactly, you see? 3 1 euro coins. This thing here. Therefore, with euros 3, and then with quarters is 4 quarters here. That is 4 quarters. The American quarters or Canadian quarters here. The same thickness, right? So this you can, of course, probably 5 quarters will be okay, which is very little more. But more than that, no. And some guitars have fit even 8 or 9. Like that's the classical distance here. So that's one thing. And then, of course, this will affect if I have to rest the thumb, right? Like if I play with, say, Rasgueo number 4. Like that's okay. But if I need to play on the bass side, then of course I have to also rest the thumb here. And that's one thing. And the other is that in Rasgueo, these measurements here also affect. Like here we have 62 millimeters, a lot. And if you have 57, which is what all guitars have more or less, it's 5 millimeters less, or almost 1 string less. This is very narrow. And then my area of control to target zone targeting zones of the strings will be hampered. That will be not good, because why? This is narrow, then we don't have control. Means that, for example, in Rasgueo 6, we could have a targeting zone starting by one string even. Let's say here, in Rasgueo. On one string only. There, and if this is very narrow, it does not help also to play, because it's too narrow, the distance, right? So the more distance we have here, it will be better to have wider distance and this close. That's the difference also between classical guitar. In classical guitar, this is narrow and this is high. So if a guitar Cypress made and have the same measurement like classical, then it's classical, not flamenco. This is flamenco because it's lower distance here and wider here and narrow here on the left side, by the way. So this is regarding that. And then regarding the support, the same thing. Because clear sound here. If this is narrow, contracted, it will affect the precision as well of the. So it's a very good question. That if it affects measurements here, will affect the Rasgueo. Of course, it affects. I hope this answered your question. Thank you, and I see you next time.